And we are back again.
Finally, it's took a little while, but we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Defender alongside Jerry Cachet. I actually don't even know what your name
What? Still Jarek Shea? It's always been Jarek Shea.
is. Fair enough. Well, yes. Episode, I believe, 21. I'm playing Betrayal Krondor. It's been a little while for us, your faithful commentators, so we will try to catch us back up. A little bit of overview for everybody. We're now on chapter 3. We've gotten our clue upon investigating the spyglass and the spider. We went south first. We got our clues pointing us towards Prank Stone, which is where a book apparently got a whole bunch of stuff. That when you touch this stone, it teleports into this chest. So that's where we're headed, to get some clues to head up that way.
And it's Prank Stone, so nothing crazy is going to happen or anything like that. It's just be a very easy get.
Yeah, you'll see that now that you've made me think about that. The town's name is Prank Stone. I mean, it's on the
And it's possessive as well.
now entering the village of. You'd think people would tend to be a little bit more cautious. You'll see. When
It's
we
not a
get there.
stone that pranks you, but it's pranks. It's the Pranks Stone, which is interesting. Like, I wonder how a prank can own something. But I guess maybe we'll see that. I'm not sure.
Well, it might. Maybe it's just somebody's name. I passed over it. You can right-click on items in the game world, and your characters will look at them. So usually you have to left-click in order to try to get the jump on, like the first action in the combat. But right-clicking allows them to just kind of look, and you can look at anything. It's not something I usually end up doing, but everything has a little flavor text to it, which is pretty neat. Obviously, here we are again, super overpowered. Korath just runs up and impales this guy's neck.
That one guy in the back is already like he's gone. He's done.
Yeah, he's.
Oh no, he's back.
Well, that was the invitation spell because I wanted to kill him. I wanted to get all this sweet loot.
Gorath never misses around. I'm surprised they're not ganging up on our friendly wizard over here like they usually do.
Yeah, I mean, 3 guys and casting lightning and poison arrows
It's okay.
and
We,
stuff.
we took out 3 generic ninja-looking dudes.
Yes. They were Nighthawks. Which, if you can harken back to probably 2 years ago when we recorded that episode in the sewers. This here is it's your only crossbow. It does a little more damage than the usual Kingdom crossbows, but the accuracy is horrible. So it's a negative accuracy on top of the skill and the quarrels. So since we tend to miss every shot anyway, I never end up using those weapons. Pretty much accuracy is king, unless the damage just so overwhelms everything.
I'm assuming, like most RPGs, the crossbow probably corresponds to all your stats, which is an unusual thing, because a crossbow is literally, the point is it doesn't respond to your stats except accuracy. That's why they were so popular.
It's actually...
and reload factor, but...
It actually isn't. There's just that separate accuracy crossbow skill. Damage is entirely based on the crossbow itself and the quarrels that you use. So if there was a nice way to really train the crossbow skill, other than I think there's a book that might improve it, and you can get trained on it by a person. Those are, and that was one of the easiest traps There's not really any way to kind of maximize it, so you're always going to be stuck for the whole game just barely having it be worth, even with the best crossbow and the best quarrels. It's like, yeah, I'd rather just run up and chop the guy's head off. Here is a use of the scouting skill. Again, it's a skill that you can't train whatsoever. But if your scouting skill is above 50% on one of your characters, equal to or above 50%, you get that little dialogue, and you get one silver thorn. It's an item that allows you to poison your sword or your quarrels one time. Now we've got the spider, which does that an infinite number of times for free, so at the moment it's not a terribly useful item. But somebody had tucked that away, and our scouting skill, which is usually used to find upcoming traps, is used to find that item. So this is one of the scripted encounters in the game. Some thieves ask us if we're siding with one side or the other in the guild war down south. If we just say no, we're not involved in any of that, then we can get out of a combat which would not yield anything other than the joy of fighting. Because when you kill the enemies, their bodies don't stick around. And in fact, if you walk away for a few hours and come back, they ask you the same questions.
Yeah, thieves so generic that they don't even get a image when you're talking to them.
Exactly, it just cuts in on the terrain. So this guy's an inventor who found some way to convert rubies to diamonds. At the moment, even if we had any rubies, or not at the moment, at this version of the game, it's useless because it converts it to a 2% quality diamond, and it's worth a little bit, but unless you find a 1% quality ruby, which, there's only so many rubies in the game, they're all usually above 20-50%, it decreases its value. It may be useful if you need a diamond, and there are a couple of quests that do require diamonds. But in previous versions, like the release version of the 1.0, 1.1 of the game, I think it transformed it to a 100% diamond, or it was much more beneficial to make that exchange. Just another way to rack up money. I have no idea what this woman is all about. I have no idea her backstory, but she hands over this present to us, and it is, I think, one torch. I don't get it. I have no idea what's up with it, but
Generic hypnotized woman to bring you things.
Here, you might need this.
And then, of course, Owen earns all the money. Because he's trained so hard in that loop. So hard.
He should be so famous at this point. Since he breaks it so
He makes 103 sovereigns. Jesus.
I mean, he should, come into town. First of all, he should have, a gold-plated loot. He shouldn't have to pick up the
bars
crap.
fighting over him for his services.
Exactly. 100-something sovereigns. That's equal to...
Yeah, he plays a tune for a week. He can eat for,
half a year.
A month.
Yeah. Barding skill up to 90%. Crazy. I always forget to rest after battles, because when no one uses all his magic, he drains all his stamina. And so he ends up going to the next battle weakened. Now this... Gorath hears a shout for help busts down the door.
$25 sovereigns, or whatever we have left.
Yep. So this is one of the few times your curiosity of investigating buildings and things is detrimental. So you.
It's okay.
You
We only
bust
have, what, 8,000 sovereigns
yeah,
left?
8,300. That's. I mean, I don't even know how I could spend it, but. Now this is interesting. Another interesting touch to the world, and maybe not something that really comes out in any of the books. That was a real estate agent who offered a house for rent for 30 sovereigns a month. Kind of puts the cost of everything else into perspective. So this is right-clicking to examine the to prank stone, and then left-click interacts and brings this up.
I like that the scale of things is dwarfs. This is about the size of a fully grown dwarf.
So I backed out and quick saved. Just to see what happens if you do foolishly decide to touch this stone. So everyone comes out of it okay. However, and while the inventory is fine, what happened was it stole all of our keys.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know, frankly, that doesn't really matter because our pickpocketing skill is going to be more than enough to carry us through. And it didn't take some of the critical ones. There's the last greenish gray one was the one from Krondor sewers, and the other one is a virtue key, which is actually used for a quest, I think, in this chapter. So it didn't take the critical ones, but again, that was a change to version 1.02 of the game. In the original version that came with the game, I think it took I forgot. I think it took some of your money. I think it took 100 sovereigns.
Keys seems much more vicious than money.
Well,
I mean, especially some of the specific keys.
Well, you got to remember, not everybody's rolling with 4 digits.
Rolling
of
so key deep.
coins. Yeah. I mean, the first time you're playing, you're not aware that the guild war is coming up. You're not, becoming a barding master. This shop, I think, was the one that sells. No, there's another one. There's another gem shop that's nearby. It's actually just north of here, which is a great place, or it used to be a great place in the early version to sell gems. It was marked up incredibly high, so it was another money-making opportunity.
Oh, we got 4 Nighthawks this time. Watch out. This might be dangerous. It's a weird way to hold your staff, Owen. Staff.
Skyfire is such an easy go-to because it can't miss.
This is 40 damage.
It does 40 damage. I don't have to worry about.
I mean, James is over there pulling 19, so 40 is a decent amount.
Yeah, this guy's dead anyway. He's got hit with 2 Skyfires. James did get poisoned, or at least when he got hit, it flashed green, so he should have been poisoned, but I didn't see him take any extra damage after his turns, so it must not have stuck. That spider, when you see in the inventory the little green drop next to the sword, shows that the blade is poisoned, but it only lasts until you hit somebody one time. Um, and I usually forget to put it back on, but I did see it at the beginning of the video. Here's a new item. Pocio Noxum. It is. I didn't realize it at the time, but there are a few items when I watched a speedrun of the game that are critical for getting through the game quickly. It's not either of these two. These two basically are incapacitate enemies for a few turns. I can't remember exactly the difference between that potion and the powder bag. Um, but there was another item which I think we've already passed, that causes the enemies to flee the battle, and that's apparently, and you can clone items in the game. There's a bug that allows you to duplicate items. I believe I found it by accident when I was playing it through myself the first couple of times. So the trick to getting through a lot of these battles is in speedrunning is to duplicate this item and then just use it on all your enemies. All right, riddle time.
What kingdom word is always pronounced wrong?
Kingdom is, of course, English.
I don't even know that that's a word.
Well, there is a word. You have to figure out which 5-letter word is.
Oh, you just flip through them all.
Yeah.
I thought you said solve the puzzle for the first roll through.
I solve it backwards to indicate that I'm solving it. You get it.
Oh.
You get it now.
Wrong is wrong. It's always pronounced wrong.
Yeah, see? That's the trick.
That's the joke.
Yeah, well,
it's a good joke.
Riddle.
It's also a joke. Why not both?
So, these are elven quarrels, which I think I'll take a look at in a second. Those that we picked up from that grave were flaming quarrels. So the elven quarrels are the second best type of quarrel in the game. It adds quite a few stats to it. 9 base damage and 15 on the accuracy. When you poison it, it increases damage but decreases accuracy, naturally. And then the other quarrels were flaming quarrels, which do a ton of damage, but there's a huge cut on the accuracy as well.
Names give power, magic to control, but what is broken by naming it? It's a long one. All I'm thinking of is the Aesop fable where you didn't want to name the what was it, the leprechaun that was stealing firstborns? Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin. The most noticeable name. I can't even remember that.
It's broken. Oh, yeah, I remember what this
is. Silence. Not bad, not bad. Good riddle. Good riddle. I do have to say, this game does have very good riddles. I can't solve any of them, but they're very good riddles.
That's right, and if you look back after I post the video, I keep a running tally of how successful you are. You're not doing well.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I make it a habit of trying to get to all of the puzzle chests. I'm sure I won't get to every single one of them in the game, but... Oh, and this is something we should be doing every single time if I wasn't following the walkthrough. This spell senses trapped chests. If you don't, then it'll just come across as locked, and if you go to try to pick it, the trap just goes off automatically. This time, it will... Obviously, if you have the spell cast, then you'll detect that there is a trap on it, which of course you then should save. And then if you try to disarm the trap, it again depends on your lockpicking skill. But it's a different lockpicking. It's a different threshold. So obviously this chest was not even locked, so it was an unlocked chest. But there are some locked ones, the same thing. It might only take a skill of 25 to pick it, but a skill of 90 to disarm the trap. And the penalty for getting hit by the trap varies wildly. It could go from anywhere. Obviously it does damage, but it could do enough damage to kill everybody in the party, and you really don't have any control of increasing your maximum hit points or anything. So you could just game over if you don't have the skill for it, down to just doing a few damage.
90s PC games are so rough.
Yes. Headed towards a temple here, and a couple guys stop us before we get there and request that, by the will of Baneth, we strip off all of our medals and leave them outside the temple. And they're pretty heavily armed. However, we can't fight them. These aren't those type of people that we can fight. So we can go ahead and... you know what? We are not going to drop our super expensive weapons and armor. Instead, we're going to blow past those guys. Of course, I can't because it's nighttime and the temples are closed. And I can't sleep right here because those guys are standing there. Of course. But Baneth is the... which I think has been mentioned. I think when you do some lockpicking... is the god of thieves. So
we just walk in through the wall. It's fine.
That it's a hint that you can probably, if you're kind of keeping up with the whole rest of the game and being observant, by the will of the god of thieves, we're not going to drop our stuff off so you can steal it. So we got a pretty good network of teleports. Again, I think I said this last time we talked about teleporting, but I never really used it in my main, when I played through on my own. But when you know where everything is in the game, it does make it a lot easier. The priest of Baneth can't seem to help us. Doesn't really provide any useful insight onto the spyglass or the spider. We didn't really get anything out of Prick Stone either, so we're just continuing north. I highlighted the bless because there are... I don't know if I talked about the blessing mechanic, but certain temples can bless your swords and armor better than others. Some can do it equally as well, but cost a ton more.
And if we didn't have top-tier weapons, that might be slightly more helpful.
Yes. So these guys, James is going to do a little assessment. These are trolls, and comparing...
They are a little bigger than normal.
Comparing the stats, and specifically the strength stat, which deals how much damage you do, they had twice as much strength as James. And probably, I think it's even more, let's see when it comes up to Gorath's.
It was 35 versus 13 on Owen, so...
Yeah, and Gorath only has 30 strength.
Gorath is close, but not quite.
So, the trolls are a bitch. I tried Skyfire. Trolls don't carry any metal, so you can't even use that automatic 40 damage. However, and I don't know how you're supposed to know this, I think there might be a little hint in one of a building that you walk into or something. All you have to do is use a tuning fork, and trolls piss off.
Those trolls got real upset.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. We're
Fuck-
going to leave now.
Fuck trolls.
Good thing you had that tuning fork.
Yeah. And
I don't like the way this feels.
fled enemies don't ever return. They obviously don't leave bodies, but they don't come back. They are gone from the game forever. The path to the west here goes towards Kaval Keep, and that's actually we're headed to. I think the town's called Kaval Keep, but that's the actual keep in that direction. We can't get in at this time. We kind of need to get a little bit farther in order to get over there. But now here we're in the eastern part of the realm. It's a little bit different in comparison to the where we started, was in the western side. This has a huge open field with a few mountains dotted around, so geographically it's a little bit different. I just found that to be a little bit interesting. But that'll do it. Next time we'll head on towards Kaval Keep. But this has been I'm a Playin Betrayal at Krondor, and see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.